Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be making chocolate truffle cake, and it's a flourless chocolate cake that reminds you of biting into the silky creamy center of a chocolate truffle. We're going to start on the stove with our pan, and we're going to have a half a cup of coffee and 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to bring this to a boil. It doesn't have to boil for a certain amount of time. We're just going to bring it up to a boil to make sure all of our sugar is nice and dissolved. You'll have to bear with me, if you will, in this video. My filming for what I was adding was not that great. Again, this is a one-woman operation, and I'm not in my normal setup, so I've added extra images, and I'll definitely let you know what I'm adding. You won't be lost, I promise. Just hang in there with me. This cake is definitely worth it, and you'll definitely want to make it. Now, after we bring our coffee and sugar mixture to a boil, we're going to turn our burner off. And I like to use this chocolate that I get from Aldi. It's Mosher Roth. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a 70%. Every time that I've made this cake, I tend to use dark chocolate with it because there is already sugar in your coffee and sugar syrup that you start off making in the beginning, and I just lean toward dark chocolate. I've never made this with milk chocolate, although I'm sure that you could. You'll just have to keep in mind that there's already a certain level of sweetness, and milk chocolate tends to be sweeter than dark chocolate. The next thing we're going to add is 1 stick of butter, and I usually like to have this softened before I add it in, although you really wouldn't have to because your chocolate mixture is warm, but you want to make sure that it's completely melted before you move on and add your next ingredient. Next, we're going to add 1 ounce of coffee liqueur. I always use Kahlua, but there are many out there. You'll just have to decide which one you like the best. And I'm going to eyeball this, but you need 1 ounce, and a basic shot glass, I believe, is about 1.5 ounces, so it would be a little bit less than a shot glass. I've made this so many times, I kind of eyeball it now. Now for our next step, we're going to temper our eggs, which is extremely easy if you've never done that, or if you don't know what that is or what to do with it. Basically, we're going to have our eggs in a separate bowl, and we're going to whisk them to loosen them up, make sure there's no big chunks of egg or chunks of yolk. And once we get them loosened, we're going to put like a wet paper towel underneath it. That'll help hold your bowl from sliding all over the place. And the reason why you temper your eggs is if you were to dump your cold eggs into your hot chocolate mixture, you would basically end up with a chocolatey pan of scrambled eggs. So what we do here is we're slowly drizzling that warm chocolate or hot chocolate. It's probably pretty warm at this point. Just drizzle this into your eggs while you're whisking, and this will bring the temperature of your eggs up slowly without cooking them. And after we do this, we're going to add maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 of our spoonfuls of chocolate, and just keep whisking, keep it moving. And then once you can actually feel the bowl, you can feel it will come up to temperature. And once that's thoroughly combined, we're going to add that back to our pot and whisk as we go and make sure everything is thoroughly combined before we add it to our pan. If you've never done this before, no fear. It is definitely very easy to do, and it's something that you definitely want to keep in your back pocket for the next recipe. I have several recipes that call for eggs to be tempered, for example, like my pecan pie recipe. So it is something good to know if you're not already familiar with it, and don't be afraid, it is very easy. Now we're going to move on with our 8-inch cake pan, and this is a deal breaker here. You have to line this with parchment paper. This cake, when it is fully cooled, it is very sticky and silky and creamy like the inside of a truffle. I'm not kidding when I say that. So you're going to want to have this lined with parchment paper, and I will even spray it with either some avocado oil spray or like Pam, something that's non-stick. And you're going to let it cool completely once it's done and lift the whole paper out. I'll show you that a little later in the process, but you have to use parchment to do this. Now, once we get this in our pan, we're going to place this in another pan, a water bath, which means that we're going to set our cake pan down inside of another bigger pan that has just a little bit of water in there because this will kind of act as a buffer between our pan so it doesn't burn in the bottom. This will also create some steaminess in our oven. Once this comes out after an hour, you'll see it'll be kind of puffed up on the top, and then as it sits and cools, it will shrink back down and condense down. Now this cake right here that I'm picking up, I'm showing you how to pick it up, but it was definitely not completely cool, and you can see how it's wanting to crack. So before you attempt to remove this from the pan or even to serve it, you need to have this cooled completely. I would say it needs to be in the refrigerator for several hours, and overnight is even better. So I definitely hope you give this one a try. It's very silky and creamy and chocolatey, and if you're a chocolate-aholic like me, you will absolutely love it. Very small slices because it's definitely rich, but oh my gosh, so delicious. So as always, I appreciate each and every one of you being here. If you're enjoying this content, please like, subscribe, comment, and even share with a friend, and it'll definitely help the channel. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.